Funding for the production of Folks is provided in part by the Friends of LPB.
These are some of the people we have visited in 1983. Hello, everyone, and Merry Christmas. I'm Rob Hinton.
And I'm Genevieve Stewart. On this Christmas Day, we begin the first of a two-part look at some of the interesting people and places we visited this year. Today, we'll share with you the stories of two successful minority businesswomen and a successful minority businessman.
We'll also have a feature on black art and share with you the talents of a young classical pianist. That and more today on Folks.
Everybody's just folks, just plain old folks. Everybody's just people all over the world. The folks who live, folks got to give, folks got to care, folks got to share. Our world is small, so very small. What touches one of us, who touches us all? To stay alive, just to survive, folks got to be in harmony. Everybody just folks, just plain old folks, just plain old folks. Everybody's just folks, everybody just folks, just plain old folks, just plain old folks. Everybody's just folks.
1983 has definitely been a busy year for those of us who work on Folks, so we aren't going to waste any time getting today's program started. We'll begin our review with a look at some very special people from Caddo and Bossier parishes. The program at the David Goldman School utilizes a multidisciplinary team to meet the unique medical, emotional, and educational needs of high-risk infants and preschool handicapped children. High-risk children are those youngsters who are considered to be at great risk of developmental disability because of some problem occurring before, during, or after birth. The Infant Intervention Program at Goldman for children up to 3 years old includes medical clinics, developmental assessment clinics, and home training and family counseling in 13 Northwest Louisiana parishes. The youngsters you see here are taking part in the Goldman School's Day Developmental Training Center. The center is for children 6 months to 7 years old, and classes are conducted daily. An individual educational program is established for each child, a program that includes occupational therapy, physical therapy, and adaptive physical education. At Goldman, there is also a lot of emphasis on language development. For example, speech therapy sessions for youngsters who need it. From Goldman, many of the children go on to attend classes in the Caddo Parish school system. Seabark also has an adult services division for mentally retarded adults over 18 years old. The single most important aspect of the adult services division is the work activity program. More than 300 workers take part in the program, either in a sheltered environment like the ones you see here, or they hold jobs in the private sector.
Why is work so important to the retarded citizens who work in your sheltered work program?
It gives our folks a chance to be like everybody else. To mom and dad, they get a paycheck. An older brother or sister, perhaps, they come home on payday and they have their paycheck. Well, our people have their paycheck too. And the message that they get from working and being paid for working is that, yeah, see, I too, I'm somebody. I'm important. I have a paycheck too.
37-year-old Mildred Welsh is one of the workers in the sheltered work program.
We have appreciated a lot of things that I enjoy up here because this place to me a lot of pleasure to me, a lot of friends around me. And so the things that they perform for me, I've been on style shows, and I have been on shows for my mother and daughter's banquet. I was performing in it. And 2 style shows that they gave me from up here. And so far, I have really enjoyed myself. And the things that most are Mr. Ellis, Miss Polson, and my instructor, Pat Fisher, and all the employees. And I love everything that they've done for me. And I feel like this place is not what you call sentimental place to be in. It seemed like just in heaven. The things they does for us. And the salary that I make, I enjoy it because I worked for it and I know I earned it.
This is a home in one of Shreveport's middle-class neighborhoods, but it is also a group home for 6 mentally retarded men. All of the men work and lead lives pretty much like the rest of us so-called normal people. There are 9 such homes in the Shreveport area. Each has a housekeeper and surrogate parents.
What are some of the misconceptions that we have about the abilities and capabilities of retarded people?
People associate mental retardation with mental illness, and that just is not so. There's no connection between mental retardation and mental illness. You can have a person with a very, very low IQ be well adjusted at his or her level and not show any trace of mental illness at all. And on the other hand, you can have a person with a very, very high IQ, 120 or 130, and be severely mentally ill. So there's a great, great difference between mental illness and mental retardation. And the public, by and large, just cannot make that distinction for you. As a result, they tend to fear mentally retarded people, and those fears are unfounded and unjustified, I think.
Those weren't the only special people we visited this year. We had the opportunity to meet some special young athletes. Colleges have always had difficulty in pinpointing what motivates people. But one type of motivation is easily identifiable: the love and training devoted to the mentally handicapped who compete in the Special Olympics. It is this type of encouragement that motivates Special Olympians to succeed. They have shown the world that given the opportunity and proper motivation, their handicaps can be overcome.
Welcome to the Louisiana State Special Olympic Games, where more than 2,500 mentally and physically handicapped athletes are here competing in over 14 different games.
Eunice Kennedy Shriver was the motivating force behind the first International Special Olympic Games in 1968. The number of participants in that event has skyrocketed from 1,068 to currently over 4,000 from 50 countries around the world. Eunice Shriver was present at the recent Louisiana State Games and shared with us her observations on how the Olympics have progressed in the past 15 years.
Mrs. Shriver, what changes have you seen in the Special Olympics since they began in 1968?
Well, the thing you see most of all, I think, is how much more ability these children have in the different sports. It's really amazing, and that has come about because of training. We have good coaches who are well trained, teaching these children to perform in these sports, and that's absolutely essential. And so the times in terms of, say, the 50-meter or the mile run or the relays have all vastly improved. The swimming, vastly improved. We've got 14 sports now open to these young people and the adults, and the children are getting better and better in all of those sports.
What do you see as the most important thing coming out of the Special Olympics?
I hope a new respect for the mentally retarded, that they can do practically everything that other people can do, and that they have a potential to fulfill just like the rest of us, and they ought to be given the opportunity to fulfill that. And I think the second most important thing is that parents understand, particularly if their child comes into Special Olympics, he has enormous opportunities to develop his heart and soul, really, and they do too. And they can understand that their child is somebody, as I say, to respect and to work for. They get into buses, they travel, they spend overnights in motels, they meet great athletes like Rayford Johnson, they participate with thousands of people cheering for them, they're in parades, they see the governor watches them, senators, everybody sees them, and they're proud of their courage. And other people who perform, they don't send the same message that the mentally handicapped do. The mentally handicapped send a great message, which is you can overcome anything if you make up your mind that you can.
Enthusiasm, competition, and team spirit are filling this gym here at LSU, where the Louisiana State Special Olympics are being held. 2,500 mentally and physically handicapped athletes are competing from all across the state. Of that number, 350 will be back in July to represent Louisiana during the International Special Olympics.
Volunteerism is another important chapter in the Special Olympics success story. Whether working as judges, coaches, huggers, or drivers, in whatever capacities volunteers serve, the personal rewards are great, as this volunteer expressed.
Kathy, why are you here volunteering today with the Special Olympics?
Well, I've worked in special education About half of my life, and I've always been involved with the Special Olympics.
How do you feel being out here today?
It's great. Seeing the kids participate and just getting to help out in any way is really great.
Will you be back for the International Olympics?
Absolutely.
The athletes themselves tell the true story of the Special Olympics. The joy and sense of accomplishment is evident on the faces of the competitors. Actually, there are no winners or losers in the Special Olympics. Every competitor is a winner, but many receive awards for their superior performance.
What is your name?
Charles.
Where are you from?
Pinkerton, Pinkerton,
And what did you just win?
50-yard dare.
That's great. Congratulations. How long have you been training to come here?
A long time.
A long time?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you feel about it?
All right, I agree.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Needless to say, the state and international Special Olympic Games were both great successes. But now we are going to tell you about another group of special youngsters. They are the victims of parents with very serious problems. Meet Linda Lacaze and Lauren Bennett. They are rehabilitated parents. Both are mothers who emotionally and verbally abuse their children. However, both sought help before they became dangerous. They successfully overcame their problems through Parents Anonymous.
I realized that the verbally screaming and hollering at my small children would lead me later to eventually things that would be damaging. And I realized that the screaming and hollering would be a better place somewhere else to ventilate it. And Parents Anonymous is what helped.
I think what really got to me was when, at that time, my oldest daughter was 7, said, "Why do you treat me different than you do my sister?" And that hurt so bad, I knew something had to be done. I could see myself not loving on her and hollering at her. It was more like the only type of affection or attention is the word that I would show her was punishment, either when she was being punished or doing something wrong. And I knew that I had to get help from somebody.
In taking a look at yourself before seeking help and after receiving help, what have you learned most from this experience?
I've learned not to be a perfect parent. I've learned to let harmony flow, to let life adjust to its own self instead of trying to adjust to life.
I've learned what it's all about, just to sit back and enjoy my children and to realize that I can grow up with them.
Linda and Lauren are now co-chairmen of a Parents Anonymous support group. They are actively involved in helping other child abusers cope with the responsibilities of parenting. What advice would you give to other potentially abusive parents?
To definitely seek help through some type of service. Family services, crisis intervention centers, to talk out your problems before they become abusive problems to your children.
I just say, don't hide in a closet. Come and see us, we're there for you to help, that's all we want to do.
This is one of 2 adolescent and children's emergency shelters administered by the Volunteers of America. Abused children are sent here if their home environments are considered dangerous. This emergency shelter has the capacity for 14 children, ranging in age from birth to 10 years. They can stay here as wards of the state for a period of up to 2 months. If at all possible, they are then returned to their homes and parents that are trying to rehabilitate themselves. In the meantime, this emergency shelter provides a safe, loving, and home-like atmosphere for abused children. Of the 500 children who have resided at the shelter since it began, 78% were cases due to neglect and 22% because of physical or sexual abuse.
In April, we visited the Tourge de Beauce piano competition, which was held on the campus of Southern University in Baton Rouge. It was there we witnessed the remarkable talent of 16-year-old Joel Martin.
We spent a lot of time in 1983 talking about women. Well, here is the story of 2 successful minority women in the world of business. Glenda Lorenz is an example of women who are exercising their newly liberated status. When Glenda began her business 2 years ago, she felt that being a minority female enhanced her chances to qualify for financing. Thus, Lorenz Shoe Store opened its doors in a fashionable shopping center. Under the expert management of its owner, the business is financially sound and successful. As a woman, what is the most difficult aspect of running your own business?
I would say that having salesmen or suppliers take you seriously, not thinking that because you are a woman, you're in this for a hobby, and if it does not work out, that you'll decide to just sell and go into something else. When they see that it's not all fun and games and you're not here just to pass an 8-hour day, that you're serious about the business, that you want the business to grow, the feeling, you can just get the feeling from them that, hey, this lady knows what she's talking about, this lady's on the ball, she's serious about having this business grow and prosper.
Was being a minority woman to your advantage or your disadvantage in finding financing?
It worked as an advantage. At the particular time, there were direct SBA funds available for females, and being a minority, double minority, female and black, it did assist me or help me in obtaining those funds. I'm not saying that those funds would have been given to me for the business only on being female and minority, but I had a definite goal. I showed SBA that projections were good, that, again, it was not fun and games, it was a business, and that in itself helped also.
In less than 1 year after opening Loren's shoe store, the political climate began shifting towards social and economic conservatism. Minority women with business aspirations were affected by the change in availability of credit. Freya Rivers is one such woman. The owner of a designer boutique bearing her name, she experienced difficulty in obtaining financing to buy her now thriving business. Armed with a PhD, experience in retailing, and a dream, she prevailed and made Freya's an established name in fashion vocabulary. Was being a woman to your advantage or disadvantage in finding financing?
Disadvantage. You'll find that most men, if they have any type of job experience, can walk into a bank, lay out what their proposal is, what the future holds for them, do a projection, and, just do a business plan, and the banker will work with them. I know that we are in a very tight money situation right now, but I found it especially hard. If it had not been for my father, there would have been no way that I'd been able to break into this business at all.
What was the most difficult aspect in starting your own business?
The most difficult aspect of getting started, and the most difficult aspect even today, is credit. And again, I'm investigating the possibility, is it because I am female or minority, or maybe a combination of both? But I found that many businesses smaller than this one, many businesses that are making a lot less money, many businesses that have poor credit are able to get credit.
Not only did we spend time this year looking at successful minority business women, but we also gave equal time to successful minority businessmen.
Meet Mohammed Baheth. He is in the construction business. Baheth went into his business full-time in 1979 following a successful career with a major corporation. He says his goal has always been to become a successful businessman.
I decided to pursue my goals in a more vigorous manner about 5 years ago. And that was due to some perhaps my ability to recognize the opportunities that were going to be coming up in this day and time, like what we have right now, even though the economy could be economically depressed to some extent. But for the goal-oriented individual, for the one who gets out there and hustle, there is no such thing as depressed economy. Not in this country, that is. This is America.
Baheth's company is presently adding a recreation center onto the New Macedonia Church of God in Christ in Baton Rouge. Once the recreation center is completed, renovations will be made to the church. Baheth had to bid against 6 other companies for the $250,000 project.
To be in business for yourself is a very rewarding thing. You know, it's a very good feeling to operate a business where you're gainfully employed. You know, you have a gainful, by that I mean you're operating a business, not just going in business to say, I have a business, I'm going to get me a charter and go into business. You actually have a marketable product, and you sell this product, and you do a good job. That's a very rewarding feeling that you get there. I know I do.
Do you consider yourself a minority businessman or a businessman who just happens to be a minority?
I'm a businessman who just happens to be a minority. And there might not be anything wrong with that to a major extent. Now, there are some cases where it has been said that minority businessmen are discriminated against. Most of our business is from the private sector. We haven't taken advantage of any of the opportunities that might be available with government contracts, minority procurement. We haven't. As soon as they present themselves, we probably will. But at this particular time, 100% of our business is from the private sector. So we haven't had any real major assistance in the construction industry.
What does the future hold for your corporation?
we're growing. We have some goals set. We certainly hope that we acquire those goals. With the support that we've been getting in the past, we feel, and if we can continue to get that, we feel like we will reach some degree of success in this business. We're certainly going to hang in there.
From the lessons you have learned, what words of wisdom would you have for someone else who is contemplating going into business?
It can be done. It can be done. Never give up. Keep your sights forward. Don't think negative. Don't be a negative thinker. Enthusiasm. There are all sorts of, those types of attributes are very, very important. The negative mentality will never be successful in business because you're dealing with people. And enthusiasm, for example, is contagious.
In March, we devoted an entire program to black art. Here are some of the works from an exhibition entitled Images of the Black Family.
That's our program for this week. Thanks very much for watching.
Next week on Folks, we'll conclude our look at 1983 with the music of Stevie Wonder, a look at Louisiana's first black female dentist, and we'll revisit vaudeville.
Until that time, have a very Merry Christmas.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey!
Funding for the production of Folks is provided in part by the Friends of LPB.